Stand now at the threshold of your own potential and listen, not with your ears, but with the depth of your inner being, for today is not a day like any other. It is a day that offers you the singular opportunity to seize control of the one territory over which you have absolute dominion, your own mind. To fail to do so is to surrender the reins of your life to circumstance, to emotion, and to the whims of those who understand neither discipline nor destiny. The truly great among men and women, those whose names are remembered, whose influence spreads across generations, do not stumble blindly through life. They rise every morning to command the most formidable force in the universe, their own consciousness. Ask yourself this now. How often have you allowed fleeting irritation, the craving for approval, or the clamor of desire to dictate your actions? How often have a careless word or a passing insult shaken your resolve, disrupted your thought, or diverted your purpose? To live thus is to live as a servant to chaos, a mariner tossed by the merciless seas of emotion, yet the power to change this reality exists within you, right now, this morning, this moment. And it begins with the disciplined governance of your mind. If you allow emotions to govern your actions, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts, you command your future. This is the immutable law of cause and effect that governs every life. The individual who disciplines his mind every morning is like a general who surveys the battlefield before the battle begins. He is prepared for every contingency. His strategies are clear, his forces aligned, his mind calm, precise, and unassailable. Let us consider the problem. Most men and women live in a state of reactive chaos. They respond to stimuli without thought. They permit gossip to unsettle their judgment, and they allow the opinions of the ignorant to dilute their focus. Each unchecked reaction is a theft of energy. Each unexamined emotion, a chain upon the will. This mental chaos accumulates, unnoticed, until it manifests in life as missed opportunities, erratic behavior, and the slow erosion of character. The great irony is that these individuals imagine themselves free, yet they are enslaved by every passing impulse, every transient desire, every irrational fear. Now, hear this carefully. There exists a solution, a method, a disciplined approach that separates the masters of destiny from the multitudes of the undisciplined. It is neither secret nor esoteric, but it is rigorously practiced by those who achieve the extraordinary. The solution is to rise each morning and discipline your mind with the precision of a craftsman, the vigilance of a sentinel, and the foresight of a strategist. This discipline is not mere habit. It is the active governance of your thoughts, emotions, and intentions. It is the conscious assertion of control over the very substance of your destiny. We begin with the principle of definiteness of purpose. Every morning declare with unwavering certainty, "Today I act with clarity of objective. My thoughts, my words, my deeds serve a singular purpose that advances my life, my mission, and my potential. Without definiteness of purpose, your energy disperses. Without clarity, your efforts are like arrows shot into the darkness, striking randomly, rarely with impact. The rich, the powerful, the influential have always cultivated this habit. They begin each day with a mental map, a deliberate plan, a commitment that guides every thought and action. Next, cultivate self-discipline. As the body awakens, the mind stirs with dormant impulses and distractions. Do not surrender to these. Rise before the noise of the world demands your attention. Engage in deliberate practices that strengthen your mental fortitude. Exercise, meditation, reflection, and the intentional prioritization of your tasks. Train yourself to act in alignment with long-term objectives rather than immediate gratification. Discipline is the bridge between potential and achievement. Without it, intelligence is wasted, talent is squandered, and ambition remains a hollow echo. Engage in the practice of autosuggestion, for the mind listens to the words it hears repeated. Speak to yourself with precision, clarity, and power. Repeat affirmations of competence, resilience, and calm. Imagine, with every fiber of your being, the life you are building. Visualize challenges before they arise and see yourself navigating them with mastery. Autosuggestion is not idle repetition. It is the deliberate programming of your subconscious to act in concert with your conscious purpose. This is the method by which the wealthy and successful impress their intentions upon the very architecture of their own minds. The mastery of emotion is paramount. Emotional turbulence is the silent thief of achievement. Learn to observe your feelings without yielding to them. Anger, fear, envy, or anxiety are neither enemies nor friends. They are signals, raw materials to be analyzed and redirected. The individual who can act without being carried by emotion, who responds with reason and strategy rather than reaction, commands a force far greater than any external circumstance. Mastery over emotion is not suppression, it is transformation. It is converting the raw energy of feeling into the precise force of intentional action. Accurate thinking is your compass in the fog of life. Examine evidence before forming conclusions. Separate facts from assumptions, reality from illusion. The mind untrained in accurate thinking drifts, reacts, and succumbs to deception, both from others and from itself. But the disciplined mind sees patterns, discerns truth, and acts with informed confidence. The successful individual makes decisions based upon clarity, not impulse, analysis, not assumption, reason, not rumor. Accuracy is power, because it ensures that every effort produces the intended result. Consider now the principle of strategic detachment. Observe the world as it is, not as your fears, desires, or prejudices would color it. Detachment allows you to act without emotional interference, to seize opportunities without hesitation, and to respond to challenges with unshakable calm. It is the hallmark of leaders, visionaries, and those whose influence outlasts generations. By remaining detached, you retain your energy, preserve your focus, and enhance your capacity for effective action. The cultivation of calmness is inseparable from this detachment. In every crisis, every confrontation, every moment of uncertainty, the calm mind sees clearly, evaluates accurately, and acts decisively. Calmness is the product of practice, reflection, and daily discipline. Each morning, dedicate time to center yourself, to breathe, to visualize challenges and solutions alike. Let calmness be your default state, for in its presence, thought is clear, judgment is sound, and action is potent. Understand the principle of thought first. All creation begins within the mind. Before action, there must be conception. Before success, there must be vision. The disciplined individual visualizes the outcome, anticipates obstacles, and constructs strategies before stepping into the arena. Action without thought is aimless motion. Thought without action is wasted energy. The mastery of both creates the unstoppable force of realized potential. Radical accountability is essential. Accept full responsibility for every thought, decision, and result. Excuses are the chains of mediocrity. Blame is the refuge of the weak. Only by owning your outcomes can you reclaim power from circumstance, from others, and from your own uncontrolled impulses. Accountability transforms obstacles into lessons, failures into data, and challenges into opportunity. Finally, practice relentless persistence. Morning discipline is not a single act, but a daily reaffirmation of your sovereignty over self. You will face setbacks. You will encounter resistance. You will experience failure. Yet persistence converts adversity into progress, difficulty into strength, and resistance into mastery. The individual who persists while others falter is inevitable in his progress. His momentum cannot be arrested. So, rise each morning with purpose. Command your mind. Govern your thoughts. Discipline your emotions. Visualize your success. Act decisively. Persist relentlessly, and accept nothing less than the absolute mastery of your inner world. Your mind is a kingdom. You are the ruler. Dominate it, and you will dominate everything that exists within your life and beyond. Discipline your mind every morning, and the world itself will bend to your vision. Consider the mighty oak, rooted firmly in the soil, impervious to the wind, not because it resists, but because it has cultivated a foundation so strong, so unwavering, that no external force can uproot it. Your mind, disciplined, deliberate, and detached, is your oak. Every thought you allow, every emotion you channel, every intention you clarify is a ring in the trunk of your inner strength. Without this daily cultivation, you are but a sapling tossed on the stormy seas of circumstance. With it, you are unassailable, a force of nature manifesting purpose in every action. Let us examine emotional detachment, the cornerstone upon which all enduring success is built. To be detached is not to be indifferent, it is to observe the world and its challenges with clarity and calmness, to see without distortion, to feel without being overwhelmed. The detached individual experiences emotion fully, yet refuses to allow it to dictate action. Consider the general in battle. He sees the chaos, the panic, the fear, yet he does not succumb. He acts with calculated precision, guided by strategy and foresight, not by the whims of sentiment. This is the power of detachment. The moment you respond emotionally to every insult, every failure, every distraction, you surrender your will. To master your mind, you must train yourself to respond with reason and purpose, not reaction. Every morning, practice this detachment through visualization and mental rehearsal. Imagine the challenges you will face today. See the provocations that may arise, the conflicts that will attempt to unbalance you. Now see yourself navigating each with composure, with clarity, with unwavering resolve. This exercise is not fantasy, it is preparation. The mind responds to repeated rehearsal as if the events were already reality. By the time real challenges appear, you are already prepared to meet them with mastery rather than panic. In parallel, cultivate mental discipline through the deliberate structuring of your thoughts. Begin by reviewing your core objectives. Write them down, speak them aloud, commit them to memory. These are not idle words. They are commands to your subconscious, instructions that align every neuron, every impulse with your intended course. Next, identify the distractions, the trivialities, the fears, the doubts that sap your energy. Confront them with clarity. Assign them their proper place, and then dismiss them from your immediate attention. Discipline is the act of consistently choosing focus over chaos, order over entropy. Now, let us explore the power of calmness in action. History offers us countless examples. The statesman who negotiates treaties under immense pressure, the scientist who perseveres through repeated failure, the entrepreneur who navigates market collapse with unshakable poise. What sets these individuals apart is not superior intellect alone, but the ability to remain calm amidst turmoil. Calmness allows for accurate perception, for strategic decision-making, for the conversion of chaos into opportunity. Each morning, dedicate time to stillness, to meditation, to the deliberate slowing of thought. Train yourself to operate from this state, and you will discover that the world's turbulence is no longer your master. Consider also the principle of proactive initiative. The undisciplined mind reacts, the disciplined mind acts. To seize control of your inner world is to seize control of your life circumstances. Proactivity requires foresight, preparation, and courage. Begin each day by identifying at least 3 decisive actions that will advance your objectives. Do not delay, do not hesitate, do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They never will be. Action taken with clarity and purpose creates momentum. Momentum, once established, carries you past obstacles that would have otherwise seemed insurmountable. The law of cause and effect governs every thought, every action, every outcome. Consider carefully the emotional energy you release into the world. If you permit anger, resentment, or fear to dominate, you set in motion consequences that will return to you with amplified force. Conversely, when you act with detachment, reason, and deliberate intention, you create outcomes aligned with your higher purpose. Each morning, recognize this law. Choose your thoughts as you would choose the seeds you plant in a garden, for they will determine the harvest you reap. Embrace accurate thinking, for it is the compass of the disciplined mind. Do not allow assumptions, hearsay, or unverified beliefs to govern your decisions. Separate fact from fiction, perception from reality, opinion from truth. Each morning, question your assumptions, challenge your beliefs, and seek evidence before acting. The individual who acts without accurate information is like a ship navigating stormy seas without a chart. Inevitably, he will founder. The disciplined mind is always informed, always deliberate, always prepared. In the practice of mental rehearsal, you build resilience. Each day, anticipate the difficulties you may encounter. Visualize yourself encountering them not with panic, but with composure, creativity, and effectiveness. See yourself responding with intelligence, adapting with flexibility, and remaining undeterred. Your subconscious does not distinguish between imagined rehearsal and actual experience. Repeated visualization primes your mind for triumph. The individual who rehearses triumph is never truly surprised by challenge. The principle of emotional intelligence underpins all mastery. Recognize your own emotions, understand their origin, and guide their expression purposefully. Recognize the emotions of others, anticipate their influence, and navigate social interactions with wisdom. Emotional intelligence is the foundation upon which leadership, influence, and success are built. Without it, intellect alone is insufficient. The disciplined, detached mind is not cold. It is aware, responsive, and strategically empathetic. As you rise each morning, adopt radical accountability. Accept responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your results. Do not blame circumstance, others, or fortune. The individual who seeks external causes relinquishes power. The individual who owns all outcomes, internal and external, becomes the architect of destiny. Every morning is a new opportunity to reaffirm this ownership, to declare that you are the master of your mind and, by extension, the master of your life. Finally, cultivate persistent resilience. Challenges are inevitable. Adversity is constant. What separates the extraordinary from the ordinary is the relentless refusal to yield to despair, distraction, or defeat. Each morning, reaffirm your commitment to persistence. Each morning, remind yourself that the trials you face are not impediments, but instruments of growth, testing the strength of your discipline, the clarity of your focus, and the depth of your inner resolve. Take now this call to action. Rise before the world dictates your pace. Command your thoughts, direct your emotions, and align your actions with the highest vision of yourself. Let no impulse derail your purpose, no fear erode your focus, no obstacle diminish your determination. Master your mind, and you master everything. Discipline your mind every morning and the day, the week, the year, and ultimately, your life will follow the trajectory of your highest intent. Remember always, the mind, disciplined, detached, and directed, is an invincible fortress. Its walls are formed of clarity, reason, and persistence. Its gates are guarded by calmness, accuracy, and foresight. To inhabit this fortress is to live free, to act with power, and to create outcomes that echo through time. Every morning you invest in this discipline. Every thought you govern, every emotion you redirect, you build the indestructible foundation of unstoppable success. Rise now, not tomorrow, not later, but now. Discipline your mind every morning and step into the life of mastery, achievement, and influence for which you were born. Let the world see your power, but let your own inner kingdom be your first conquest. Command yourself, for to command the self is to command all. Now consider the power of definiteness of purpose, the single unwavering objective that aligns every action, every thought, and every emotion. The undisciplined mind drifts. It reacts to every stimulus, it chases every fleeting desire, it surrenders to distraction. But the mind anchored in a definite purpose is like a lighthouse amidst the storm. Its beam cuts through chaos, guiding every decision, every effort, every initiative. Each morning, declare your purpose aloud. Write it down, repeat it, ingrain it into the fibers of your being until it becomes not just an intention, but an unstoppable force. Let your purpose dominate your mind so completely that doubt, fear, and distraction dissolve in its presence. This brings us to the principle of thought first, the understanding that every action, every result, every success is preceded by a thought. Before wealth, before influence, before achievement, there is thought. If you allow your mind to wander unchecked, if you permit negative or aimless thoughts to dominate, you forfeit your power. But if you command your thoughts with precision, selecting only those that serve your highest aim, you command your destiny. Each morning, discipline your thought patterns. Identify those that elevate, those that degrade, and consciously choose which shall govern your day. The mind that masters thought first is the mind that achieves all that it conceives. We must now examine the mastery of emotion in practical terms. Emotions are not enemies. They are instruments. Yet, an undisciplined mind allows emotion to dictate behavior, to cloud judgment, to provoke action that undermines purpose. Observe your emotions as if from a distance. Label them without attachment. This is fear. This is anger. This is impatience. Recognize their presence, feel them, and then release them, redirecting energy toward rational, purpose driven action. The individual who achieves this is like a skilled conductor, orchestrating a symphony of impulses, harmonizing instinct with intellect, and transforming chaos into creation. Every morning, dedicate time to mental rehearsal of calmness. Visualize scenarios that might provoke anger, disappointment, or anxiety. See yourself navigating each with serenity, reason, and decisiveness. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish rehearsal from reality. By preemptively training it, you prepare for the day's inevitable challenges with unshakable composure. When circumstances confront you, you act not from panic, not from reflex, but from mastery. This is the essence of emotional detachment, not suppression, but deliberate direction. In tandem, embrace the power of selective attention. You can focus on countless trivialities, gossip, and distractions, or you can focus exclusively on those thoughts and actions that advance your purpose. The undisciplined mind surrenders to every stimulus. The disciplined mind chooses what to observe, what to entertain, and what to act upon. Each morning, set boundaries for your mind. Decide consciously which influences will be permitted entrance and which will be rejected. By controlling attention, you control thought. By controlling thought, you control life. Let us also discuss persistence as a daily ritual. Success is not the product of occasional effort. It is forged in relentless, disciplined action. Each morning, reaffirm your commitment to persistence. Anticipate setbacks not with fear, but with strategic foresight. Each obstacle is a test, a proving ground for the strength of your mind. The individual who endures, adapts, and continues forward in the face of resistance is the individual who ultimately commands success. Your persistence is the bridge between desire and accomplishment. Equally essential is the cultivation of clarity in decision-making. Indecision is the enemy of progress. Hesitation is the accomplice of failure. Each morning, review your decisions, those of yesterday, those pending today, and assess them with rigor. Separate fact from assumption, necessity from preference, action from avoidance. Make decisions deliberately, act upon them decisively, and resist the temptation to vacillate. The mind trained in clear, accurate thinking moves with precision, and precision begets power. Now turn your attention to the principle of strategic detachment from opinion. The world will constantly attempt to influence you through criticism, praise, ridicule, and flattery. The undisciplined mind seeks approval, fears disapproval, and reacts to external validation. The disciplined mind observes but does not submit. Seek counsel, consider perspective, but do not surrender authority of your inner world. To achieve mastery is to act from internal conviction, not external pressure. Detachment from opinion ensures freedom, clarity, and the ability to act in alignment with purpose. Further, embrace the daily practice of gratitude as a tool of emotional control. Recognition of what is working, acknowledgement of opportunities, and appreciation for the present moment serve as stabilizers for the mind. Gratitude does not diminish ambition. It strengthens perspective, aligns energy with abundance rather than scarcity, and fortifies resilience. Each morning, affirm what you value, what you are building, and what you are capable of achieving. Gratitude anchors the mind in strength rather than weakness, in clarity rather than chaos. Finally, internalize the principle of continuous mental expansion. The disciplined mind never rests in stagnation. Every day, seek knowledge, insight, and perspective. Read, observe, analyze, and reflect. Let your mornings be laboratories of intellectual growth, your thoughts exercises in creativity, and your reflections instruments of self-mastery. The mind that refuses growth becomes brittle, predictable, and weak. The mind that constantly expands, sharpens, and refines itself becomes invincible. Rise now with intention, with discipline, with resolve. Every morning is a battlefield and a proving ground. Command your mind, for to command your mind is to command all outcomes. Cultivate detachment. Practice emotional mastery. Focus your attention. Rehearse your triumphs, and act with relentless purpose. The world will test you. Circumstance will provoke you. Chaos will tempt you. Stand unshaken, for you are disciplined, directed, and decisive. Success is not a matter of luck or chance. It is a consequence of the mind governed, the emotions mastered, and the actions aligned with a definite purpose. Discipline your mind every morning, and you will forge a life of power, influence, and unstoppable achievement. Let your thoughts be your compass, your emotions, your instruments, your persistence, your engine, and your clarity, your guide. Every morning, rise not merely to exist, but to dominate your inner world, to conquer the chaos within, and to manifest the destiny that awaits. Master your mind, and the world will bend. Picture now the great achievers of history, those whose names echo through time not by fortune alone, but by the discipline of their inner world. Napoleon, who mapped the destiny of nations with strategic precision, did not allow anger, doubt, or fear to sway his decisions. Edison, whose inventions reshaped civilization, endured countless failures because he mastered the tempest of emotion and remained anchored in purpose. Carnegie amassed unparalleled wealth, not merely by commerce, but by the mastery of thought and the unyielding application of principle. These men understood a truth few today grasp. The outer world bends only to the command of the inner mind. If you wish to achieve, you must first conquer yourself. Consider the mornings of your own life as the laboratory of destiny. Upon awakening, you stand at the threshold between chaos and control. Will you allow your mind to drift, to be assaulted by fleeting moods, idle thoughts, and the endless tug of distraction? Or will you seize command, consciously aligning every thought, every emotion, and every intention with your highest purpose? To rise each day without discipline is to surrender power before the battle has begun. To rise with discipline is to step into mastery, to ignite momentum, to write the script of your own legacy. Let us examine the anatomy of mental neutrality, the state in which the mind observes without attachment, responds without reaction, and maintains unshakable composure in the face of provocation. Mental neutrality is not indifference, it is active command. When insulted, you do not lash out. When challenged, you do not panic. When denied, you do not despair. You see events as they are detached, unbiased, purposeful, and you choose your response deliberately. This is the essence of emotional detachment, to act not from reflex, not from ego, but from reason aligned with purpose. And yet, neutrality alone is insufficient without the power of anticipation. Train your mind each morning to envision potential trials. Imagine challenges, obstacles, and provocations. Rehearse your responses with calm precision. In this practice, you arm yourself against chaos. You do not wait for storms to strike. You anticipate them, mastering them before they arrive. The disciplined mind is not reactive, it is preemptive. It controls the battlefield of circumstance by first mastering the battlefield within. Now, let us speak of autosuggestion, the silent, invisible lever by which you implant commands into the subconscious mind. Your thoughts are seeds, and your subconscious mind is the fertile soil. Each morning, speak to your mind with clarity and authority. Declare your purpose, affirm your strength, visualize your success in detail. By repetition, by conviction, by emotional intensity, you plant the seeds of achievement so deep that they germinate into reality. The man who neglects autosuggestion surrenders to randomness. The man who masters it commands destiny. Embrace also the discipline of selective influence. Just as a gardener removes weeds to protect the growth of the chosen crop, so too must you guard your mind against toxic influences. Conversations that drain, news that alarms, social pressures that distract these are weeds that compromise mental clarity. Each morning, identify the influences you will allow into your consciousness and which you will reject. Protect your inner world with vigilance, for it is the crucible of creation, the forge of achievement, the dominion of power. And as you refine your inner landscape, remember the law of persistence through adversity. Success is forged not in comfort, but in struggle. The disciplined mind recognizes adversity as a teacher, failure as feedback, and resistance as a proving ground. Each morning, rehearse not only triumph, but trial. Envision obstacles and rehearse your unwavering advance. The mind trained in this manner becomes unassailable, impervious to panic, immune to despair, and relentless in pursuit of its purpose. We must now confront the illusion of control over externals. The undisciplined mind attempts to control events, other people, and circumstances. It reacts, it pleads, it manipulates, and it suffers. The disciplined mind recognizes that the only true domain of control is within the mind, the thought, the emotion, the intention. By mastering these, by detaching from the uncontrollable, the individual achieves the ultimate power, freedom from chaos, clarity of action, and the ability to shape reality indirectly through influence, through foresight, and through unwavering purpose. Consider the morning ritual of reflective accountability. Begin each day by reviewing the previous day's decisions, actions, and reactions. Identify lapses in discipline, moments of emotional surrender, thoughts unaligned with purpose. Do not judge yourself harshly, but do not excuse weakness. Observe, correct, and reinforce. By this continuous self-audit, you sharpen your faculties, strengthen your inner command, and reinforce the pattern of mastery. Finally, elevate your vision to the principle of relentless refinement. The disciplined mind never rests. It continuously hones thought, tempers emotion, and clarifies purpose. Each morning is an opportunity to improve, to advance, to transcend yesterday's limits. To settle for less than this is to invite stagnation, mediocrity, and unfulfilled potential. The individual committed to relentless refinement becomes a force of nature, a being whose presence, decisions, and actions radiate control, authority, and inevitability. Rise now with the unshakable understanding that your destiny is the product of your inner mastery. Each morning you stand at the helm, the captain of your mind, the commander of your emotions, the architect of your fate. No circumstance, no critic, no misfortune can prevail against a mind disciplined, detached, and unwavering. The secret is not in external tactics, not in luck, not in chance. It is in the unyielding command of thought, emotion, and intention. Discipline your mind every morning. Observe without attachment. Act with purpose. Direct thought before action. Rehearse calm before chaos. Affirm strength, clarity, and persistence. Guard your attention. Expand your knowledge. Cultivate gratitude. Master emotion. And never ever relinquish authority over your inner world. In this practice lies the path to unstoppable achievement. In this practice lies freedom, power, and legacy. In this practice lies the truth Napoleon Hill discovered through years of study and observation, that he who commands the mind commands all that is possible. Now rise and claim that command today, this morning. Let no thought, no feeling, no circumstance, no person divert you from your purpose. Stand unshaken. Move with precision. Think with clarity. Feel with intention. Act with power. The world awaits not the timid, not the distracted, not the undisciplined. It awaits those who have mastered themselves. And that, dear listener, is the secret to conquering everything. Discipline your mind every morning and consider the ritual not merely as repetition, but as the forging of character, the sculpting of destiny. Imagine for a moment the minds of the great conquerors, inventors, and pioneers. Each morning, Alexander the Great awoke not to idle thought, but to strategy. Each dawn, he rehearsed the battlefield in his mind, anticipating contingencies, visualizing maneuvers, commanding the allegiance of his intellect before the conflict of circumstance could interfere. So too must you envision your own battlefield, your business, your relationships, your ambitions, and in that silent rehearsal, you gain advantage that no competitor, no adversary, no random twist of fate can undo. In practical terms, this begins with the simple yet profound act of mental calibration each morning. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and observe the thoughts that arise. Notice which are aligned with purpose, which are distractions, and which are subtle saboteurs of your peace. This act of observation, though seemingly passive, is in truth the first command of power. The mind that observes is the mind that governs. The mind that reacts blindly is the mind enslaved. Write down your reflections. Mark each negative thought, each emotional disturbance, and consciously release it. Replace it with the affirmation of purpose, the clarity of intention, the energy of relentless resolve. Consider also the principle of emotional budgeting. Just as one would not squander financial resources without tracking income and expenditure, so too must you manage your emotional energy. Each thought, each reaction, each indulgence in fear or envy costs power. Each moment spent ruminating on what cannot be controlled is a loss of leverage in your own life. Decide consciously where your emotional currency will be invested. Allocate it to gratitude, to creative thought, to planning, to disciplined action. Withdraw from anger, from resentment, from trivial drama. Invest in yourself and watch your life compound in value beyond measure. The disciplined mind also practices anticipatory control, a concept Napoleon Hill implicitly observed in every great achiever. Before stepping into the world, consider what events may arise, who may attempt to provoke, distract, or derail you. Then rehearse your ideal responses. Envision the worst-case scenario and meet it with calm, precision, and unwavering focus. By rehearsing mastery over reaction before the test occurs, you render the unexpected powerless. You turn adversity into opportunity, resistance into fuel, chaos into clarity. Historical illustration reinforces this point. Benjamin Franklin, whose influence shaped nations and whose wisdom endured centuries, rose each day with a personal plan. He asked himself, "What good shall I do today?" Each action was measured, each word calculated, each emotion disciplined. By commanding his mornings, he commanded his reputation, his influence, and ultimately the course of history. Consider the implications. If Franklin, a single individual, could bend reality so profoundly through inner discipline, what might be possible for you, who wields the same power of mind, if only you seized it without hesitation or compromise? Let us speak of the law of mental neutrality, which demands that we observe events without surrendering to them. The storm may rage, the market may collapse, alliances may falter, and yet the disciplined mind does not tremble. It perceives the storm as data, the market as opportunity, the betrayal as information. The emotionally detached mind does not react unconsciously. It responds with reason aligned to purpose. To achieve this, cultivate the habit of asking each morning, which of today's events can I control? Which shall I observe without attachment? By framing the day in this manner, you establish your inner command before the external world even presents itself. A critical component of mastery is autosuggestion, repeated with emotional intensity. Begin your morning with statements that affirm your power, your clarity, your invincibility in the realm of thought. I command my mind. I am master of my thoughts. I will act with precision and purpose. I shall not be distracted, derailed, or dissuaded. Speak these not as wishful thinking, but as law. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between desire and command. It will act on conviction. By saturating your mind with unwavering belief in your capacity for disciplined thought, you embed patterns that become habitual, automatic, and unassailable. As you refine your inner discipline, consider the principle of selective influence. Just as a gardener removes weeds to protect the integrity of the crop, so too must you guard your mind. What information do you absorb? What conversations do you engage in? Which media and opinions shape your consciousness? Each morning, define your circle of influence. Reject toxic narratives, reject gossip, reject emotional manipulation. Curate your environment mentally and emotionally so that only elements conducive to growth, clarity, and purpose remain. By doing so, your energy is conserved, your focus intensified, and your momentum unimpeded. Now, extend this discipline to the practice of reflective accountability. At day's end, review every action, every thought, every emotional response. Ask yourself, where did I surrender to impulse? Where did I remain aligned with purpose? Do not excuse errors. Do not indulge guilt. Observe, correct, and internalize. By this continuous audit, your mind becomes a self-regulating instrument of precision, capable of unparalleled focus and decisive action. Each day compounds mastery upon mastery, until your inner world is a fortress of calm, clarity, and power. Moreover, embrace persistent visualization, the rehearsal of success as though it has already occurred. Each morning, see yourself navigating challenges with composure, commanding conversations with authority, executing decisions with precision. The brain does not distinguish vividly imagined experience from lived experience. By visualizing victory with emotional intensity, you condition your responses, program your instincts, and forge a neural architecture for success. This is the discipline of foresight, the elite power of controlling outcomes, by first controlling perception. Consider also the economy of attention, a concept overlooked by many but mastered by the wealthy and powerful. Each morning, allocate attention deliberately to creativity, to strategic planning, to relationship cultivation, to personal growth. Withdraw attention from fear, resentment, envy, and triviality. Attention is the currency of accomplishment. Mismanagement results in wasted potential, stagnation, and regret. By consciously directing your attention each morning, you establish the trajectory of your day, your week, and ultimately your destiny. The final pillar is relentless refinement, the understanding that mastery is never static. Each morning seek improvement in thought, in discipline, in emotional control, in knowledge. Review failures not as defeats but as data. Adjust, recalibrate, and reinforce habits of excellence. Just as a blacksmith hammers metal repeatedly to forge strength, so too does repeated discipline forge the character necessary to dominate any domain. And so, my listener, hear this with absolute clarity. Your power lies not in circumstance, not in inheritance, not in luck. It lies in the command of your own mind. Each morning you are reborn into possibility. Each day you choose either mastery or surrender. Each moment you decide whether you will act as the captain of thought or drift as a leaf upon the winds of emotion. The disciplined mind, the detached mind, the purpose-driven mind bends reality, shapes outcomes, and commands destiny. Rise now with unwavering determination. Begin tomorrow with a ritual of inner command. Observe without attachment. Direct thought with clarity. Allocate emotion with precision. Rehearse responses to adversity. Affirm your purpose with conviction. Guard against toxic influence. Audit your actions. Visualize your success. Direct your attention. And refine relentlessly. In these actions lies freedom. In these actions lies power. In these actions lies the secret that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, the possible into the inevitable, the fleeting into the eternal. Begin your morning with precision, for the first moments of the day are not trivial, they are decisive. The disciplined mind understands that success is born in the silence before action, that the first thought shapes the next, that the initial choice governs the cascade of every hour thereafter. Therefore, rise each day not as a passive participant, but as the architect of your inner world. Sit quietly in stillness. Close your eyes. Observe the mind as it stirs like a restless sea. Watch the waves of thought and identify those which serve your purpose and those which threaten it. Write them down. Give form to your inner landscape. By naming each thought, each worry, each emotional twinge, you seize dominion over it. There is no power without clarity. There is no discipline without recognition. This act alone, mere minutes of morning introspection, begins the process of mental mastery. It separates the leader of his mind from the servant of circumstance. Next, engage in structured visualization. Picture the day ahead not as it might happen, but as you will command it. See yourself executing decisions with unshakable confidence, handling challenges with calm precision, navigating interactions with strategic wisdom. Imagine every conversation, every meeting, every obstacle. Visualize them, not as problems to provoke panic, but as arenas to demonstrate your control. Let this mental rehearsal seep into your muscles, your tone of voice, your posture. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish vivid imagination from reality. By controlling this rehearsal, you control the outcome. Then, proceed to affirmations of purpose and power, autosuggestion in its highest form. Speak aloud or in your mind. I am master of my thoughts. I am the commander of my emotions. Today, I act with precision, focus, and clarity. Nothing external can sway my resolve. I shall see opportunity where others see adversity. I shall respond with wisdom where others react with fear. Repeat these words with emotion. Repeat them until the body and the mind feel the conviction in their very marrow. This is the practice of neuro-emotional conditioning, a tool used by the elite, by those who bend circumstance to will. Let us now explore emotional detachment in practice. Life will present provocations, slights, failures, and criticisms. The weak mind recoils, reacts, and wastes energy. The disciplined mind observes, evaluates, and chooses the response that aligns with purpose. Do not confuse detachment with indifference. Detachment is the power to engage without surrendering sovereignty. It is the power to act without being acted upon, to see without being blinded, to respond without being enslaved. This is mastery over self, and mastery over self is the true wealth of every individual. Consider the great Winston Churchill, who faced relentless attacks on every front, political, military, and personal. Yet, he cultivated a mind unyielding to external chaos. His mornings were rituals of reflection, of reading, of mental rehearsal. When the bombs fell and the world quaked in fear, he remained steadfast not because he was insulated from danger, but because his mind was disciplined, detached, and strategically calibrated. This is the model for your own life. Cultivate detachment to gain power, discipline to secure victory. Next, attend to the principle of selective mental nourishment. What you feed your mind determines its strength. In the quiet of the morning, read carefully. Absorb information deliberately. Guard against gossip, envy, and negativity. Feed your mind with strategic insight, creative thought, and empowering knowledge. For the mind is a garden. Sow clarity, purpose, and wisdom, and you will reap success, calm, and mastery. Sow doubt, chaos, and distraction, and you will harvest confusion, stagnation, and wasted potential. Now, integrate reflective accountability into your routine. At the close of each day, review every decision, every action, every emotional response. Ask yourself, where did I act in alignment with purpose? Where did I falter? Where did I react unconsciously? Analyze without indulgence. Learn without fear. The disciplined mind treats every error not as failure, but as data, as insight, as opportunity for refinement. Over time, this practice sharpens judgment, strengthens character, and perfects the mechanism of thought. Beyond introspection, employ strategic response rehearsal, identify challenges likely to arise, preemptively design your responses. The mind that prepares is never surprised. The person who rehearses the storm commands the storm. By anticipating provocations and rehearsing rational, composed, and effective responses, you cultivate an unshakable advantage. Every day becomes a laboratory for mental dominance, and every obstacle, a test that proves your sovereignty over self. Finally, harness the law of incremental mastery. Discipline, like muscle, grows through repetition, through conscious effort, through unyielding attention to detail. Do not demand perfection in a day, a week, or even a month. Demand consistency. Demand conscious effort. Each morning, each deliberate act of thought, each choice to master emotion compounds upon the previous. Over time, the disciplined mind becomes automatic, the detached mind becomes instinctive, and the individual becomes unstoppable. And so, as you rise tomorrow, remember, you are not awakening to routine, you are awakening to dominion. The mind is your battlefield, and each morning is a campaign. Win the dawn, and you win the day. Win the day, and you win life. Emotional detachment is your shield, mental discipline, your sword, and the command of your inner world, your kingdom. Hold fast to these practices. Guard them fiercely. Repeat them relentlessly, for in this relentless repetition, in this unwavering devotion to mastery, you achieve the impossible. You bend reality to will, and in doing so, you enter the rarefied air of those who command destiny rather than being commanded by it. Rise each day with purpose. The first moments of the morning are decisive. They set the trajectory for every hour that follows. Sit quietly, observe your thoughts, and recognize which serve your mission and which threaten it. By naming them, you seize control. Clarity precedes power, and discipline begins with recognition. Visualize the day ahead. See yourself acting with precision, handling challenges calmly, navigating interactions with wisdom. Your subconscious cannot distinguish vivid imagination from reality. Rehearse victory, and victory will follow. Speak affirmations aloud. I am master of my thoughts. I command my emotions. Today I act with clarity and purpose. Repeat until conviction permeates every fiber of your being. Emotional detachment is not indifference, it is sovereignty. Do not let criticism, chaos, or failure dictate your inner state. Observe, evaluate, and choose your response. Reaction is for the weak, response is for the masters. Calmness under pressure reveals opportunity where others see walls. Feed your mind deliberately. Seek knowledge that empowers. Remove negativity, gossip, and distraction. Reflect each evening. Where did I act with purpose? Where did emotion sway me? Learn without fear. Refine without indulgence. Every day is a laboratory for mental mastery. Every challenge a test of sovereignty over self. Rehearse your responses before challenges arrive. Anticipate obstacles, plan, visualize, and prepare. The mind that rehearses is never surprised. Focus your energy deliberately, let the trivial fade. Surround yourself with clarity and ambition. Guard your associations and your intake of information. Strategic detachment amplifies your power. Embrace impermanence. Let go of fleeting victories and transient losses. Control lies in the present. Mastery is shown through consistent, disciplined action. By commanding your inner world, you bend circumstance to your will. Victory is not luck. It is the result of mental mastery, emotional detachment, and disciplined action. Discipline your mind every morning. Respond with clarity. Act with intention. Rise and seize the life that only a fully sovereign mind can achieve.